The thing about Jake Paul is you want to see him get knocked out. You want to see somebody punch him in the face, and you want to see him go down to the canvas. Simon Miller, the bald a-hole here. I'm just going to fill you in on a little bit of life updates before we get into today's video. I wasn't going to talk about this. Well, I was in two minds. I was like, do I make a whole video about it? Do I just mention like this? Do I not mention it at all? But some people have started to notice a few weird things, be it in my videos here or my videos on What Culture. So randomly, I'm not going to get into it too specifically because, again, I'm not sure how I want to play it at the moment. But I did have to have surgery this week. I'll give you the headline. Essentially, I broke a rib many years ago. Turns out that rib has grown back weirdly. I don't know what ribs do. They explained it to me and I was like, man, I'm stupid. I don't understand this. And essentially, I was in a position where if I had fallen over or something like that badly, I could have impaled myself. Now, that's a massive exaggeration. That's not the case. But the point was they were like, we need to sort this out soon. So I'm a madman and I don't stop creating videos. But it's been really, really hard. And I am probably not going to be able to be as productive as I want to be otherwise. So I thought, well, I'll just mention it on this video. I'm not going to title the video anything like that. I don't want any sympathy. I don't really like all that kind of nonsense. I'm going to be out of action for a while, which would make sense in terms of just normal weightlifting life, but we can still do videos here. And I had planned to do this video anyway, so I thought we can just sit down and we can talk about it. So let's just get on with that. But yes, it's something that was obviously a massive deal a week or so ago when Jake Paul actually beat Ben Askren in a boxing fight. Now, I was actually going to make a video about this, but now you can figure out why I didn't. It was really interesting to me because I'm a big wrestling fan, as I'm sure most people watching this know. And the thing about Jake Paul is you want to see him get knocked out. You want to see somebody punch him in the face, and you want to see him go down to the canvas. And he knows that too. He is playing a professional wrestling villain or a professional wrestling heel to the best of his abilities, and you can't knock the guy in terms of his success. I think that fight made around about $60 million. So we can all laugh and point the finger, but if you do anything that makes $60 million, you've definitely tapped into something, even if you are coming at it from, I'm trying to think of the equivalent now, but who would you watch? Maybe when Randy Couture kept on going that. Remember when Randy Couture was like 79 years old and he was still winning world titles in UFC? You really rooted for that guy, whereas Jake Paul is the opposite. But this is why wrestling has worked for so many years. If you can get a good guy and a good bad guy, you're going to make a lot of cash, and that is what he has done. And I'm not going to criticize him because clearly he put the effort in. You know, there's a bunch of videos out there about him there doing his boxing training and the weights and all these kind of stuff. But what really made me chuckle is how people spin it when it comes to the media, because this article appeared everywhere and it's called Inside Jake Paul's Brutal Pre-Fight Diet as YouTube Star Cuts Out Fatty Foods Ahead of Ben Askren Bouts. This happened like, I think a month or so before the actual fight had said, but somebody on Instagram sent it to me. So I was massively intrigued. I was like, well, what did he eat? Because obviously when you're a boxer and you need to make weight, sometimes your diet has to go pretty crazy. I'm sure, especially in the UFC and MMA, I'm sure you saw the weigh-in that happened a few weeks ago when somebody was actually so malnourished they collapsed and the fight had to be cancelled. Absolutely something that needs to be looked at, but that's not the video we're going to be talking about today. It's a little bit different when you get to these celebrity boxer fights, because what usually happens is you have weight limits. But for example, I think Logan Paul has been touted to fight Floyd Mayweather soon, which is nuts because Floyd Mayweather is like 160 pounds, and I don't know, Logan Paul is 190 or whatever, but they are the numbers they've put in place. So they've essentially said, Floyd, you can't go over 160, and Logan Paul, you can't go over 190, whatever the hell he weighs. There's still a 30-pound weight difference, right, which you never do in proper professional boxing. So the diets don't have to be as nuts, because what they will usually do is they will look at you and say, again, you're walking around at this weight, keep to that weight, so you have to then alter your diet to do it. But the thing that cracks me up is that if you are any kind of serious lifter, you will know what a crazy, horrible, brutal diet is that ruins you and it takes you out the game and it makes you all hormonal, makes you feel like you just want to run into a wall, and it makes you want to cry because you're not getting the right amount of foods and you do feel malnourished again. That's what happens. But Jake Paul's pre-fight diet was, for starters, his breakfast was oatmeal and fruit. So straight away, you wake up, you have oatmeal and fruit, you're going to be a happy guy. His snack is then a protein shake and ice cubes. His lunch was salmon and vegetables, and his dinner was chicken and salad. That is a perfectly reasonable, healthy diet that I would imagine a lot of people are taking on to just live their lives. And that's not me taking anything away from Jake Paul. I'm sure he was eating a bunch of crap and chocolate bars before this, and you have to dedicate yourself to it, and you have to be disciplined, which he absolutely was. But again, it's the way that this stuff kind of gets spun that really, really, really cracks me up. Because when I saw Brutal Diet, I thought maybe he's cut out carbs completely. Maybe he's just water cycling. I thought it was going to be absolutely nuts, which I thought was a little bit strange because, again, it's not a professional fight. And I presumed, I watched the fight, but I didn't look into the specifics beforehand in terms of what was allowed and what wasn't allowed. But this is the issue, that kind of diet shouldn't really be spun as a brutal diet. Now, of course, we've talked about this 1,000 times before, much like in the Power 13 cookbook. Link in the description below. Use the code SIMON15 to get 15% off. You do not have to have a boring diet to have a healthy diet. There is perfectly tasty things that you can eat if you want to be sustainable. But I actually don't mind that diet at all. I like oatmeal. I like oats a lot. I know there's this weird kind of, it's like the bad boy of the bodybuilding world is oatmeal. I hate oats. I think they taste delicious. Protein shakes I never have a problem with. Salmon is one of my favorite kind of fish ever. Smoked salmon, normal salmon, give it to me. And chicken and salad, I mean, if you lift any kind of weights, you've done chicken and salad for your entire life. But yeah, it's like the paragraphs like this. Snacks are limited for the ripped American with only protein shakes or even ice cubes allowed when he is in training. And this tied into the fight that he had beforehand with Nate Robinson, I think his name was, where Jake Paul told TMZ Sports that he is eating ice cubes because your body spends energy to warm the ice cubes up, which is, look, it's true from a scientific point of view, but if he was having the ice cubes as a snack, but was also eating the rest of the food that has been documented here, I've seen crazier diets, right? And again, I know this sounds like I'm ripping into what he did, which I'm not at all. It's just the way that mainstream media portrays this stuff. I don't think you should be telling people that a brutal diet is waking up and having some fruit and some oats, then having a protein shake, then having some salmon, then having some chicken. Like, it's very low in carbohydrates, of course, and that's something else that we need to look at. But he was trying to lose weight for a very specific thing, and when you do that, one of the things that lots of people will do will drop carbohydrates. So it's just about the message that we're getting out there, and it always makes me laugh. Like, again, I'm sure he had some days which were really, really difficult. I'm not taking that away from him at all, but the idea that is a brutal diet is just not true. And now, of course, we have to see what happens with Jake Paul and Conor McGregor. That's what he wants. That's what he wants. He wants Jake Paul wants Conor McGregor, and I look at it like this. Again, if I'm right, the guy's name was Nate Robinson. He'd never had any, I think he was a basketball player, so he didn't have any fighting experience. You then move on to Ben Askren, who, I mean, this has been done to death now. We don't need to talk about it massively. Was not any kind of a striker in MMA, had a different approach, and also kind of didn't look like he took this massively seriously, and he doesn't have to. He walked away with $500,000, is far better than I've ever done, so you can't criticize him either. But if he does get in there with Conor McGregor, I will bet everything I have that he loses. Now, I don't know if that actually is going to happen. I suppose because he has just made $60 million, you could probably offer Conor McGregor a hell of a lot of money. But how much are you going to have to offer him? If you've proven that a thing with Ben Askren can make, say, $50, $60 million, let's say you can make $100 million from the Conor McGregor fight, I bet Conor would say, well, give me $50 million. Of course he would. He's Conor McGregor. He does this kind of thing all the time, but I think Conor McGregor would absolutely spark him out. But it is kind of fascinating. And as somebody who is on YouTube and making videos, to see how he's been able to manifest this audience and turn it into a boxing thing, crazy, nuts. And not at the moment for obvious reasons, but I'd fight him. I mean, nobody would tune in for that. There'd be like Jake Paul versus some random bald guy on the internet who also happens to be an independent pro wrestler. I don't think it has the same sell, but I would 100% do it. And there was going to be, it turned out not to be what it was, and I only got asked once and I said I'd be interested. I never heard about it again. But YouTube or somebody or something was going to do a YouTuber MMA like blue collar boxing league, not boxing league, but blue collar league thing. And I was going to get involved because I love training for stuff like that, but it never happened. So I don't think I have the killer instinct in me either, because that's what they always say. If you're like a proper successful boxer or a proper successful fighter, you need to be able to get in the ring or the octagon or the cage and just know deep down that you're happy to kill a guy. I don't think I have that. And I think if I was on the precipice of killing a guy, I would just back off and then he'd get up and probably knock me out. But there you go. There's Jake Paul's brutal diet, which is not a brutal diet at all. It's very, very disciplined. I want to make this very, very clear because people go crazy in the comments. It's very, very disciplined and it's very, very motivated. And he should be very, very proud of himself from sticking to it, because we all want to eat chocolate cake and cookies and biscuits and who knows what else. But again, this is just me getting on my high horse, as we all do here on YouTube, and saying out loud, it would be nice if one day that could just be explained as a healthy, good diet that you too could participate in, should you so want to. And if you don't, that's fine as well. Now, please do leave a comment below and let me know what you think about all of this. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Hit the bell, ding, ding. Another video will be going live. Again, the Power 13 cookbook, link in the description. Simon15 to get 15% off. There's another video on screen. Give it a click. Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, and merchandise is also in the description below as well. Again, don't worry about all the stuff I talked about at the start of the video. I'm just letting you know. I'm giving you like a vlog update in case I start to look weird or sound weird or do videos a bit like this, which admittedly are low effort. They are low effort videos, but I kind of need that right now. See you on the next one.